Hello, it's me, and I've come back to you for another unboxing here. I apologize for my lack of content, but things have gotten very busy here, so it's going to be kind of spotty, but I'll try to upload and post as many as I can. But this one I couldn't resist, so I'm going to take some time here. Packaged in the best way that they possibly could. Looks more like a mountain. And if it's what I think it is, I ordered it a while ago, but well worth the wait, if it's what I think it is. Okay, so cut through here. Here. Okay. So it looks like it's basically bursting right out of the package. And it is mass-produced puzzles. Okay, so it's some mass-produced puzzles here. And let's see what we got. So I've been fascinated by the mass-produced version of the circle puzzles here, the Sengso versions, and this is the 4x4, and I wanted to see what this one was all about. Wanted to see what this was like compared to the other 4x4 circle puzzles. And I've always been fascinated with circle puzzles, as they are puzzles within puzzles. Okay, so the circles are in the front here. I don't know if you can see it, but let's do some initial moves. So you see that it's stationary. Now, if what I think is correct, all the circles should be stationary, and looks like they are. Okay, so this is the first layer. If I just move the second layer moves. So it's stationary only insofar as the first layer. If I move them both together, then it's basically like a 4x4. But on this side, it's not. So that's interesting. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different from the others. Okay, now that's interesting too. So when I turn this, it's stationary, but here it's not stationary. If I move it like so, now this isn't stationary and this is. So this seems to me like a 2x2 inside a 4x4. So that structure is, I think, different from this version. Actually, if I move this down here, so you can see this is a significantly bigger puzzle, well, slightly bigger puzzle. We'll line it up over here. So this side has a stationary circle, which is much like this one, which is also stationary. If I move these two, it's still stationary. If I move these two, it's not. Still stationary. On the opposite side, stationary. If I move these two, it's not stationary. This side, stationary. Moving these two, also not stationary. Okay, so it appears to be the same, and I hadn't noticed that before. Not stationary, not stationary, not stationary, and stationary when I move these two. So there is a difference with this. It's not the same. It's not the same puzzle, which I find interesting. If I go like that, stationary. If I go like this, stationary. Here, okay, so that's always the same. If I move the first two layers, stationary, not stationary, not stationary, stationary. Interesting. Stationary, stationary. So this always is stationary anytime I do slice moves. But this one isn't. Okay, so I suspect that what this is it's literally the 2x2 inside, like the 2x2 circle cube surrounded by the outer 4x4. So I'm going to see how this impacts the solve of this and what the meaning is. So I'm very intrigued by that. So it's not the same puzzle as the M8. And let's see what this guy is. Oh, okay. So this was a new puzzle, I believe from Item. Just got mass produced. So this appears to be a edge turning octahedron. Okay, so I'm going to explore this. It's a little bit stiff right out of the box, but not too bad. Yeah, so every edge turns. Every edge turns here. Okay. So how do I correlate the turns with each other? I suspect it's a jumbling puzzle, as most edge turners are. So when can I make the other turn? Well, I can do the 180 degree, and that'll do it. And let's see what else. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure that I should be able to make other turns with this. So let's see, move this over to here. And okay, I think this is where it's going to happen. Okay, so yeah, when I line this up to here, then I can make my turn. So these are the jumbling turns. Move this here, can I turn it back? Nope, by jumbling I can't move it back in that way. Maybe in this way, yeah. Okay, so this will be a lot of fun. These edge turners always do portend something of a challenge. So when I have it here, this can make a turn. When I line up the triangles here, it can continue to make a turn. So lining those up should get me what I need. All right, so I'm going to analyze these a little bit more and see what I can make of them. Thanks for watching. Hello, it's me, and I've come back to you. I wanted to go over this Sengso 4x4 and just sort of delve into it a little bit further. So when looking at it, I think I had established that it's not like the MF8 Crazy 4x4. That looks a lot like it, which is this puzzle over here. So they're very similar in that you've got the centers and you've got a circle that just goes through the centers. When this comes out in black and stickered, I shall be getting that. But what we found is that with this, well, what both have in common is that in the last layer, the terminal layer, all the circles are stationary. But even with the second layer, with all the second layers, the circles are not bandaged, so they move with the puzzle. Here, same kind of thing. With every terminal layer, the circles are stationary, but with some of them, when you move the second layer, some are stationary and some are not stationary. So the things that have always been very appealing about circle puzzles is they're kind of the, quote, real version of the puzzles, which means they're puzzles inside of puzzles. So this one, the MF8, is actually a combination of a 4x4 and a 2x2. So you really get both, and it's truly a pure version of that. So you get the 2x2, and you get the 4x4 on top of that. Now there's other versions of the circle 4x4. I'm just going to look at this one right now. The other versions of the circle has, including the edges. The only difference is it's the same thing. The main difference is that it becomes a 4x4 supercube, whereas this is not a 4x4 supercube. It's just a 4x4 with a true 2x2 underneath it. So if you were to scramble it, and scramble this guy over here, you just have your standard 4x4. So what this puzzle is here, and I figured, I had a suspicion of this because this actually turns, and this part doesn't turn. By turning this part over here, I'm actually turning this center here as well. So my suspicion is that this is a combination of a 4x4. Inside of that is this version of a circle 2x2. So this is not, unlike this puzzle, so this puzzle is a 4x4 with a 2x2 inside of it. This one is a 4x4 with a circle 2x2 inside of it, meaning this whole thing is a circle 2x2 surrounded by a circle 4x4. Now, you may think, well, isn't that what this is? Isn't this over here like a circle 2x2? But my contention is this. This circle 2x2 is actually a modification of a fused cube, a fused 3x3. What do I mean by that? Well, when you look at it too, a 2x2 is really just a fused 3x3 as well. Inside this 2x2, there are edges and there are centers. You just don't see them. So what happened is they took a 3x3, they took the edges and they encompassed the center and the edge, and you just end up with this. You end up with this kind of a solve. So that's really what this is. This is a 3x3 fused together where all the edges, where all the corners rather take over, and the corners overran the edges and the centers. This is a fused cube. It's a fused 3x3. So if this is a 3x3 where all the corners overran the edges and the centers, this is a fused 3x3 where one of the fused puzzles overran the other fused puzzle. So why would I make such a claim? But I think it's important to understand that because that was a point of contention and confusion when I was going over the solve of this. Because to solve this puzzle, you also have to solve the fused 2x2, and the question is, when are you going to do that? So if I were to, let's say, go ahead and scramble this up, because I may be able to demonstrate it better that way. And then we'll scramble this guy here. So I'm going to show this, the full scramble here in case you want to buy it. This is a very smooth moving puzzle. I would say it's even smoother than the MF8. It's a larger puzzle, but it's very satisfying to turn. So I have to say Sengso produces very good quality products. I haven't really met a Sengso I didn't like. And I've met a lot. Okay, so... Alright, so we already see the structural differences with these puzzles. That this is a 2x2 inside of a 4x4, and this is a fused 3x3 inside of a 4x4, or a circle 2x2 inside of a 4x4 if you want to identify it like that. Okay, very good. Let's keep doing that. Alright, nothing stares back at you like a scrambled puzzle, eh? Okay, so here's what I mean by that. So this over here is an actual fused 3x3. Now this is by Smaz, a fantastic designer. Now there's a difference between a Siamese 3x3, a conjoined 3x3, and a fused 3x3. The fused 3x3 really has all but 3 layers that you're able to get to. The top here, the R over here, and the back over here. But if I hold it over to... If I hold it here, then it's going to be the up move, the F move, and the R move. All the rest are fused together on this cube, and there's 2 of them. Now there's a version of this where instead of having a whole other 3x3, this is just replaced by a block. It's the same kind of thing. It's a block instead of 2 3x3s together. So why would I say that this is just like this? Well, when you look at it, the movement of this, first off, moves just like a 2x2. Where you've got one here and down here. So you never really can do more than just 2x2 moves, because you can move here, and that's actually what's happening here and here. But here's the thing. If we were to say that this particular puzzle, if I were to turn this into a block, and I were to take this 3x3 and sort of move it into this other 3x3, I would have a piece for piece equivalent with this puzzle here. So this block, okay, so we'll take this 3x3 and call that a block and put that in here. That block is manifested in this puzzle by a piece that never scrambles, and this is the block over here. And during my tutorial on this one, I showed that the first thing to do is look for the piece that doesn't scramble, and you can tell because it's the one that has the inner circle portion that never leaves the corner. No matter how I turn this, that's where this is. So this here represents, if I were to look at this as the main cube here, it represents this cube, which could just be a block. So when I'm solving it one at a time, this cube and this cube, one of them is just going to be like a block. So I can shave this down and just turn that into a block and just have one fused cube without another 3x3 as part of it. So this represents the 3x3 that I'm not solving, and the rest of the puzzle represents the 3x3 that I am solving. So what does that mean? Well, if I move this over here and this over here, what are the equivalent pieces? Well, each corner here is equivalent to each corner here, right? All the rest of these edges have equivalencies here as well. So for instance, this edge, well, we'll start off with this. This edge over here is equivalent to this back edge over here. Now this and this piece are the same piece. If I move this, this moves with it. So remember what I did is I took this and I slid it over here so that they're sort of combined together, and this centerpiece is sort of those other pieces that are mashed together. So this edge is the same as this edge over here, and that's these two together, which means this edge is the same as this edge over here, and that's these two pieces together. So this, this is equivalent to this is equivalent to this. And these two edges are separated by this back corner, so too this edge and this edge are separated by this back corner. I know you see it in the front here, but it's the same piece as this. It's just sort of pulled through to the front over here. So this is separated by this back corner here. Okay, so that would mean this edge is equivalent to this piece over here. Okay, so this is equivalent to this piece over here, and this edge is equivalent to these pieces over here, and that's separated by the front corner, which is this. That would mean this piece and this piece are separated by this back corner over here. So to summarize, we've got this edge is equivalent, this edge is equivalent to this edge. This edge is equivalent to this edge. This edge is equivalent to this edge. And this edge, which is the same as this, is equivalent to this edge. So we see a piece-by-piece equivalency. This does not enter into this move at all. And there's no centers. The centers have been folded over like a 2x2. So these centers here, these edges here rather, they're actually edges. They don't correlate with this side. So that means that if I turn this over here, okay, this over here, that's equivalent to this move over here. And that's why this has so many edges that it's taking with it over here. Each one has that same equivalent. Now when I turn this, without going through all the different pieces, I can ask myself, with this piece, what are the edges that are taken with this turn? Well, it's this edge, which is equivalent, we said, to this edge. It's this edge, which is equivalent to this edge. And it's this back edge over here, which we said is equivalent to this edge. And it is being taken as I'm turning this. So when I turn, say, this piece over here, that's equivalent to this. When I turn this over here, that's equivalent to this. And I can see that I'm dragging all these other edges from this top layer, here, here, and here, as I'm dragging this, which is these two, this, and this. So that's just in case you had a hard time visualizing that, but you can see that it looks like a symmetric 2x2, but in reality, it's not. The turns are not symmetric. This you can tell by the size, but if I fold it over, you can tell that this turn is not symmetric to this turn. So many less pieces are turning with this turn, and so many more pieces are turning with this turn, even though it looks like it's a symmetric 2x2 solve. So point this down over here. So there you have it. That's why this is like a fused cube. So this puzzle here is it has a fused 3x3 inside of a 4x4. That's really how it is. Now, to those that are interested, what we would do is we would just kind of go about the solve. But let me go ahead and scramble this over here to show you the piece-by-piece equivalency of the solve here. So I'm going to go like this. Okay, now I can scramble this too. So that's like having two in one, because this block over here becomes another 2x2, if that's what we wanted. But instead of that, let's see what happens when I solve this and this at the same time. I know I've done a tutorial with it, but I think if we look at it when it's sort of side by side like that, it might be easier to see. Let's get this down here. Okay. Now this really is just a 2x2 solve, and your standard 2x2 solve, there's your first layer, the last layer over here. Very quick, simple solve, as long as you know the algorithms, and boom. Okay, I'm not setting any records with that. So the first part of this solve over here is going to be exactly what I just did. So we're going to put in one side. I'll do the red side. I almost always start off with the blue side, but or green side rather, but I'll break with tradition. So this is fine over here. Now these pieces are all connected to that. So this is acting like a 2x2, not a fused 3x3, but a 2x2. The solve that I'm doing with this is exactly like a 2x2 solve. There's nothing more fancy with this. And like I say, I'm proving once again that I am not a speed cuber. And boom. Okay, so we can see that the 2x2 solve is done. The 4x4 is simply, the 4x4 solve is simply a reduction to a 3x3. Now, in terms of that, putting the centers in, the main difference now is I know where all the centers are. I've coordinated that with a 2x2, so I can just sort of mix and match that. So if I did want to keep putting the green ones in, I'll just put this in, slide it in, double turn so that it's all here, and put it down. And the rest is just the usual suspects. This will come in here. Well, you can do it the way that you'd like. Bring this in here, down, and turn. So this is all in here. This is what I call the sliding U technique, but this is even more simple than that, where I put this in line, bump it off the side, bring it down, so we've got the 4x4 solve here. So there's really not much difference between this and your classic 4x4 center solves. I've reduced the centers, so now I'm just going to reduce the edges. Edge reduction, what I like to do is this will match down to here. It's going to bump out this red and white. So I'm going to take this red and white and I'm going to replace that to here. The way that's going to work is I'm going to put this up here all the way to the back right side. This will come down here to match this. So match it here, replace it with this edge that had the other piece that was being bumped out. So this goes down, replace it, put it up, and I've just put 2 in. Okay, this will come down here, bump it out of the way, put this one in its place, bring it back, that'll bring all these back, and now I've reduced this. So in this way, the hope is I can reduce it a little faster. Again, not speed cube faster, but a little faster. So I'm going to look for the white and orange and pop that puppy right over here actually. So white and orange right over here. So I find it in the right place, bring it down, so this is in, bump it out of the way, bring it up, and now that's in. Now I see that these 2 colors are the same as the colors here. When that happens, I line it up so that the 2 colors are opposing each other, and simply do the algorithm. I'm going to put this as a U, then R, F, I, U, R, I, F, and it magically lines these up. Okay, so very quickly we did our reduction. Now it's just a matter of doing the rest of the solve, so starting with our green side. Now I'm doing this because I'm going to show you a slight difference that happens with this, but we're getting there. This is kind of like a multi-solve thing that I'm doing. So putting my edges in the way that we do that. Again, I apologize if you're hoping for a tutorial on a 4x4. There's so many that are out there, and I haven't done any base puzzle tutorials, but again, if so needed, let me know. Okay, so all that's in, we're just going to put our corners in. So this is just a standard 3x3 solve. Okay, what did I just do? Well, what I did is I effectively put these 2 opposite each other. This is a 4x4 parity, and there's something called the URF algorithm that gets us through that. If I try to do that URF algorithm, it'll look something like this. I slice through here and I do 2U, 2R, 2F, URF. Then we do 2U, 2U, then 2F, 2R, 2U. We swapped these 2, but we also swapped these 2 in this particular puzzle. So the question is, well, how do we get something like this back? And the answer is, well, if anybody has an easier way, let me know. There probably are, but let's get this back. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U. Now I can do this by doing a variation of the URF algorithm. It's kind of a long one. It's the one that's the hardest to memorize, but it sort of flows once you do. And what it is you start off with a middle move here with UI. We do R, Fi, then U, Ri, F. Middle slice, U, middle slice, D, then finish it with Fi, R, Ui, F, Ri, D, and it'll swap these without causing any swapping of these centers over here. Now, that's something you're probably going to want to avoid if you can. So might there be a way to avoid this with that? But anyway, so that was the solve of this guy. But now let's turn our attention to the fused cube. Now, if I really want to do the full scramble with this, I would scramble this part too. But that's like having a puzzle within a puzzle here and scrambling this. So I'll hold off on that. But really what the steps are is just to quickly go through that solve where it shows how to do this correlative with the fused cube is first get your corners in. Now this corner is already solved. This would be the puzzle within the puzzle. So this acts as basically a large corner. But we'll go ahead and solve it as such, and we're going to be ignoring these edges. Why? Because that's what these are. These centers are really the edges of a fused cube, as I've shown you. So these centers are edges of a fused cube. So we're going to ignore those. And if we were to do that, well, we do this all the same way that we did this. So let's go ahead and put in our corners here. Whoop. I'm going to start off with green. I'm ignoring all of these, which means I'm ignoring the edges of our fused cube. Upside down. Oh, so do your 2x2 solve. Best way that you know how. Probably much faster than I can. Boom. Okay. So what do I have here that's equivalent to this? Well, let's put in our edges the same way. And it turns out that this is green. I'm going to start off with blue then. So putting all of our corners in, here's a blue corner. Now the main difference is this does actually have center, so I want to hold to that. But this represents the center over here of this puzzle. But this belongs over here, so I'm just going to put it there. I may have to variate my strategies a little bit. And I'll put this over here, so I've got these corners in. The next corner, pop this one up here, and the next corner is going to be right over here. So let's get this out of the way. R-I-D-I-R-D. Okay, so these corners are in. We just have to get the rest of the corners in too. So this represents a green corner over here, green and yellow. This is not the green and yellow corner. I'm going to flip them all up. So these should be flipped up as well. And use whatever flipping algorithm. Now I had a flipping algorithm that I used with this. You could just do R-I-D-I-R-D if you wanted to. Why don't we do that? So keep doing R-I-D-I-R-D until these are all the greens are flipped up. R-I-D-I-R-D, R-I-D-I-R-D. It messed this up, but don't worry about that. I moved this in line on the right side. Same thing, R-I-D-I-R-D, R-I-D-I-R-D, and again. Okay. So that put all of our corners in, and these are all fine. Again, if this was messed up, you just go by this center, and you do the same thing that I just did on this portion of the fused cube. But we're going to look at this as a block because that's how this puzzle is coordinated. So remember, this block here represents this block. We could scramble it, but we're not because this doesn't have the equivalent equivalent ability to scramble. Okay, so these corners are correct and these are correct. Now we just have to find the two corners that are in, not these, and so it looks like none of them. So I'm just going to do a random corner swap to our U. I have to move the whole thing, U, to our UI, to our, turn the puzzle here. Now notice I don't care about the center portions here. So sometimes an R is both of these together. To our UI, and here to our U, to R. Okay, if I do that, I see these two are in. I'm now going to put this with the reds, and I'm going to do a corner swap where this black will go here and this orange will go to here. So this whole thing, so remember, I'm looking at this like a 2x2 now. To our U, to our UI, to R, turn the puzzle, to our UI, to our U, to R. Now you saw me moving different layers sometimes, but it doesn't matter. It's just the corner layers that I'm worried about. This will then move and bang. So now you've got all these corners lined up. So this is equivalent to this puzzle right now. All these edges that are out are equivalent to these edges that are out. Now there's an algorithm that I showed as to how to move these. And what this did is this moved to here, this moved to here, and this moved to here. What that's equivalent of saying is that this moves to here because it's equivalent to this moving to here. So this moves to here. This moves to here. And this moves to here. So that's how that works. Now this is actually easier than this because notice these corners just have one color. They really have two colors. Well, okay, I should say they have two colors. Just like these have two colors. But I still found it a little bit easier. So this goes here, and this goes here. So let's see what we need. So I want this to go over to here. If I turn this to here, this will go here. Now this color here, this blue will slide to here. This will go down to here, and this will come up to here. So let's see how that looks like. Now remember, this algorithm that I showed, when this goes to here, this goes to here, this goes to here, let's find some that actually come into place. I'm putting this in front of me. Just like this block here is in front of me, so too is this. So let's see. Do we have anything that'll actually be better? Well, do we have a green up here? If I don't, then I can just angle it differently. So this red will go here, this green will go here, this yellow will go here. Now what I can do is I can move the green to here. So now this red will go here, this green will go here, this will go here. And what this algorithm was is RI, UI, RI, UI, RI, then U, R, U, R, U. Good and good, and I just move this back. Okay, so let's see how this works in the same way. I'm going to do that exact same algorithm, and what we should find is that this yellow should be in, this red and blue will be here, and this black and green will be here. Now, can I put something else here? Well, a black and green. That'll be way down here, so I'm not going to be able to get access to it. But let's see how this works. So RI, UI, RI, UI, RI, U, R, U, R, U. And that worked. So that was over here. So this went to here, this slid over to here. This went to here, and this went to here. I can move this back where it was, and we see that this is all fine. So I'm going to keep coordinating it like that. I'm going to keep turning it so that I can do my R's and U moves. So this red and orange can come over to here. Just have to find how I can make that happen. Well, I can hold it here, and eventually it'll get to here, and this black and blue should come up to here, and I believe this black should be here. So this blue will slide here, this will slide down to here, and this will slide up to here. Okay, so 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. All right, so one more should slide this black up to here, this color here. This black will slide to here, and this is blue, which is where it needs to be. And this blue and red will come over to here, so the red will be in place, but the blue won't. So let's do it again. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, this is in, and this is in, and this is down here. I'm going to pop that back over to here. So now we can see that we're getting there. And there is so many choices. Well, the most direct one is to move this into this spot. All right, if I move it to here. Well, I don't want to move this one out, so let's see if maybe I can do it from another perspective. But this positioning and repositioning is part of the fun. Okay, so this doesn't belong here. So if I were to move this here, that would be good because this will slide into here where it needs to be. This will come down to here. We don't really want this here though. We don't want this to be affected. So I'm going to do some deconstructing here. This is not in, and it's the only one that's not in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it up like so. Boom. Okay. Then I'm going to move this back here to cause this to go here, this to go here, and this to come up here. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, that's in over here. I just have to remember how I deconstructed it. Now this was moved here. We want to move this to where the blue one is. But so I don't get lost, we'll move this to here, and we'll move this down. Whoop. We'll move this like so. Okay, so that way we can see where everything is. So now I'm going to take this and I want to move this to the black. So I'm going to move this over to here. I suppose I can move it twice. I'm going to want to move another one in here. So let's move this red one up here again. So I'm going to move this here, move this up, move this back. I just got to remember what I did to move this back down here, and here. Now to find my way home, I just remember kind of some breadcrumbs and here. So my first move to move it back is I'm going to be moving this over to here. Hopefully the rest will follow. So this will come over to here, this will come over to here, and this will slide up here. If I do it twice, then this yellow will be where it needs to be. Well, this green, this blue will be where it needs to be. This black will be where it needs to be. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and again, so that this can slide here. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, now this slid over to here, and let's see if I can find my way home. That's part of the excitement. Okay. and this came here. Okay, so we have this almost all the way done, and I think we're down to the last three. So we just have to do our setups. Now they're unfortunately kind of far from each other, but maybe not so far. So if I put this up like this isn't the proper configuration to come to here. So I'm going to remember that. But what if I move this into this configuration? Well, I'm just going to move it like so. Okay. Let's see if I can make this not so complicated. Move this to here. Okay, if I move this over to here, this is going to end up upside down here, so I got to be careful with that. Alright, I think one of my first goals is to try to move them closer to each other. Yeah, they're pretty far away. I did a pretty good job with that. So this will come up here, so I know this red one is going to be where it needs to be. So I'm just going to lodge that over here, move this to here and up to here. And then move this to here. So I know my first move is going to move this back here, and then this will come up. So maybe I can remember that. Anyway, if I do this twice, this will be where it needs to be. Which is right here. Okay, that's it. So this came up like so. This came up like thus. Here. And then here. Okay, I gotta move this to here. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay. Now let's find our way home. I believe this came to here. This came up here, this came up here, and this moved twice, 3 times. Okay, so we've got ourselves down to 2. Now they're upside down, but I think it's easier for me to work with. So, let's see. This can come up to here, and this can come up to here, so that way they can all participate. But it might be easier if I move this once here and this once here. So that way these can all participate. I just have to move this out. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, let me get my bearings a little bit. Okay, it's these 3. So I can try to find a configuration with these 3 in a way that'll make sense. Okay, I'll have to move this down here. That's good because it'll move this black and yellow up to here eventually. Now this black is not where it needs to be. So black and orange is going to end up here. This is going to end up down over here. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, this will slide here and that's good. This will come down here and it will be upside down. So let me kind of bring this back to perspective that I can better follow. Where are the 3 that are out? These 3. Okay, so this will slide here. This needs to end up over here. And it won't do that with this in this configuration. Okay. Okay, what if I want like this? Let's get this back here. I go 1, 2, so that'll be my last move to bring it back. Then I go 1, 2. This black will find its way to this green over here, and this blue will find its way there. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So this should be, this should finish it. This to here, this slides the blue to here, this slides the black to here. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Now, let's find our way back home. I think this was here, this was here, This is here, and done. Okay, so that's the fused cube. Now you're going to find that it's exactly the same way. I have this over here. I can move it any direction that I want, and you've already seen the previous tutorial, so you know the direction that I'm going to go. So this white will go here, this green will go here, and this white will go here. Would it be nice if I can put a green one into here, which I can't, but we'll just do it anyway. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. So same kind of thing. I know what I can do is I can move this down here, this will go to here, this will go to here, and this will go to here. It would be nice if I can put a yellow into here, and although it would be nice, I don't have a way of doing it. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, this green is now in. Can move this up here, that won't do much. Okay, if I move this to here, this yellow will be here, this green will be here, and this will be over here. But why don't I go 1, 2, so I can put a green in. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. This green is in, so let's go back. Oops, where we were.
There's going to be some driver and
Move this here, okay, and then it gets solved. All right, so a lot of positioning. So what is our goal for this puzzle? How do we conduct ourselves with this? So my suggestion is to do the 4x4 solve first. Do the 4x4 solve first, and then just like you did with solving the 2x2 portion and then doing the edges of your fused cube, solve the 4x4 first. And the way that you're going to do that is first find the area that's fused together. Now here you could tell, because the centers and the edges always lined up, it's not going to be that way because the centers are now removed from the edges, the internal edges. They're now removed by a layer, and this is the layer that you have to look at. So find the layers that don't turn. This doesn't turn, this doesn't turn, this does turn, this doesn't turn. So these three. So between these three, that's going to be your fixed block. That's going to be the block that doesn't move. That's going to be the fused block. So it's going to be here. It's going to be red, green, and white. Now once you have that, now you know how to coordinate your center. Because if you're going to do your 4x4 solve, you don't want to do your centers just anywhere. You want to make sure that the centers of the 4x4 surround the fused area of your fused 3x3 or your circle 2x2. Same puzzle. So you're basically finding what this portion is, the portion that is not going to get scrambled, the portion that would be just like a block. So I did that by looking at, seeing that this didn't move when I do two layers, and this didn't move, which means the juxtaposition, the articulation of all these layers are these three. I didn't want to do it over here because this remained fixed. Now when I say didn't move, I should have said moved. So this moves, the center, this moves, and this moves, but this doesn't move, so this is not going to participate. So I hope that I didn't confuse, but when I said doesn't move, this actually does move. So the three that move, so this, and this. So I'm going to start putting in my centers around this. I'll first put the green in here, so put this in here. Do it any old way that you want. So I'm going to move this up so this matches. Bump it out of the way, bring this down. So that's here. Find the other green, which is here. This will bump out these two. This is in, down, and in. Okay, so now this is in. Okay, now which else? Okay, it was the red. So let's do the red layer. So move this up, bump it out of the way, bring it down. This is our sliding U technique. So now we're going to match this to this over here, match it up, out of the way, bring it down. I just need these two to be filled in. So that's going to be, match this with this, out of the way, bring it down. And I just need this one over here. That's going to be this guy all the way over here. I'm going to bump out two. Okay, I'll bump out these two for this. Put this in so I have these two paired. Out of the way, bring it down. Okay, so now the red is in. So just to rehash, green is in, red 4x4 is in. What was that other one? It was white. I know that because this moves with the center when I do the second layer with it. So the other white, take it out of the way, and move. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So put this here, move it in, down, replace it. The final white is here. So this is going to match up on the bottom with this, knocking these two out of the way. Boom, put this in and splat. Okay, so now what you can see is we can see these are now solid, just like it was over here, but you had to create it. You created it by finding all the centers that moved with the second layer. The centers that did not move with the second layer is not part of the fuse cube. This is your edge of one of these layers. These are the edges of one of these layers, not this block over here. So then you just do all the other sides accordingly. So opposite green is going to be blue. If you don't know that, you can just look at the corners, match this up, bring it up, get out of the way, bring this back down. Okay, let's move this up, bring this back down. Okay, now the true sliding U technique is going to put this into this spot, bring it up in this spot, put in another, slide the U to another layer, bring that up, slide the U back, bring that down, slide this U back over here, bring that down. So now that all that's in, what do we have left? We've got orange goes over here because it's opposite red. So let's bring these two up, which bumps that one out of the way. Get it out of the way, bring it down. We'll do a true sliding U technique. Put it in here in one layer, bump it to a different layer, slide it to a different layer rather, bring it back up, slide it back to the original layer, bring it back down, slide it back to this layer over here, bring this back down. Okay, so all of our centers are reduced. So now what we're left to do is continue your 4x4 solve in the same way. So here's a red and orange over here. So this is going to come down here and bump the green and red out of the way. I'm going to find a green and red right over here. Oh, it turns out both of these are the same color, so that's easy. So at this point, opposites here, do our algorithm, bring it in, R, F-I-U, R-I-F, and bring it back. So now both of these are reduced. Blue and red right over here. Again, very good movement with this puzzle. Find the white and red and put that over here. White and red. White and red is going to be right over here. Double turn this here. Okay, that's where it needs to be. Bring it down, replace it, put this back up. Now this is in. Yellow and orange right over here. Move that in. That's going to knock out this blue and yellow. So that blue and yellow is going to want to be over here on this side. Blue and yellow, yeah, blue and yellow, which is right over here. Oop, wrong side. Now right side. Okay, this is on the correct side. Bring this down to line it up. Bump it out of the way. Match it up with, or replace this. Bring this back up here. Move it in. And now that's okay. Okay, green and orange. So the good thing about the 4x4 is it's over just before it gets too tedious. So white and green. Find the white and green. Right over here, we're white and green, I think, yeah. So this will match with this guy over here. Bump it out of the way, replace it with this edge, bring it back up, and now this is in. Here's an orange and blue. Gotta match them up. So this is gonna, oh, where'd you go? Interesting. Okay, messed that one up somehow. Okay, this is gonna come down to here. Here's an orange and blue over here. So I'm going to position this where I want it. So this will match up with here, the white and blue. Bang. Get it out of the way, replace it with this edge, bring it up. And now this is in. So we're actually getting 2 for the price of 2. Bring this over to here. Find the green and yellow. Yeah, because this is going to come down over here. Oh, you got the same colors, which means we might be in the home stretch. So match this up, bring this in, R, F-I-U, R-I-F, and splat. So standard 4x4 solve. So you can see all these are reduced, the centers are reduced, everything is there. Now we're just going to finish our 4x4 solve. And that's going to be in your usual way. Again, it's not a 4x4 tutorial. I'm just doing a 3x3 solve at this point. So yellow and red, putting my corners in. Putting this corner in over here. Pop this out of the way. Yellow and orange, that guy's going to go over here. This red's going to go here. Okay, top layer is done. Don't worry about this. Now we're going to do our middle algorithms. This will come to here. And this will come to here. And this, whoop, to R, to U, to R, to U, to R, to U, just to get this over to here, and this will come to here. Okay, now, you might get parity with this, and in this case you do. So this is an edge parity, F, U, R, U, I, R, I, F, I. So you can see one edge is rotated wrong. That's okay. Go ahead and fix the parity. By the way, if you fix this parity and you didn't have these edges and you already solved for this part, this is going to get messed up and you're going to be stuck. So that's why I say don't do your edge solve of your fuse 2x2 yet, because those edges are going to be displaced when you do the Red Bull algorithm. The way that I like to do it is I'll just kind of put it over here so that here's my fused portion to the right, to R, to B, to U, L, to up, RI, to up, R, to up, to F, R, to F, LI, to B, to R. Okay, it's fixed and you wouldn't notice any difference, but if you did try to do it, what would happen is each one of these centers would be off by 90 degrees. They'd be up one layer. So that would make you stuck. Okay, so we'll try to get these corners in now. Typical 4x4 corner solve stuff. Okay, now is there going to be a corner parity with this? Or edge parity with this, rather? No such thing as a corner parity, and the answer is, oops, in this case, no. There's no parity, so we're going to continue to solve it. So, I'll show you. Okay, now if we were to get that other kind of parity that you saw with the other 4x4, it would look like this. Now remember, when I tried to fix it, I caused the edges to these centers to be off by 180 degrees. Now you could fix it in exactly the same way with that kind of parity. You could do that. But I'm thinking, why go through that process? Just do your 4x4 solve. When you see this, just fix it the way that you would with the URF algorithm, the simpler version. Why try to memorize the harder version? Because then you'd have to do that if you put these edges in. And by the way, even if you didn't get that parity, if you got the Red Bull parity, that's going to cause an issue that's going to make you have to redo the algorithm to put in your 2x2 centers. So why do it then? Just do it now. So to U, to R, to F, to U, to F, to R, to U. So in terms of steps, your first step is find the fused portion and do your 4x4 solve, letting the fused portion guide you as to what centers are supposed to be where. The next step is now we're just going to solve it exactly the same way that we solved this. Exactly the same way. So here's our fused portion over here. Just going to kind of confirm that. Now we're going to do the same thing. So a green belongs here. We can move this in this spot. This to here, this to here, and this to here. We'll move a green one in and a white one in. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. And the good thing about this is it doesn't change any of the configurations. You can move this back and you see you've got those in. So now we're going to continue. That solve. All right. So we can see if there's other good opportunities. Yep. So this white can go here. This right here. This yellow here. So RI, UI, RI, UI, RI, UR, UR, U. so this is in and this is in. We can move this up. And let's see, so do we have a white one that we can use? And we don't. However, if I do this enough times, this green will end up into here. So that's good. So while we're going to do this, do I happen to have a red one that I can put in? And the answer is yeah, but it's going to take something else. So I'll just very quickly do it twice. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. All right, and once again, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so we're getting there. Let's see, I can move this down here. Is there an orange that I can put in? Okay, so where else can we go with this? Okay, here's green. There's no getting around that. That's going to be problematic. But if I move this to here, it'll shuffle things around a little bit, but I won't take anything. The overall effect will be fine because this blue will be here. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, let's see what that shuffling did for me. Let's see what kind of position it put things in. Okay, so let me see. This blue is going to go here. This orange won't have any home over here. And where is that green? That green is over here. That's the problem, is that when this is on an opposite, this is literally like an edge that was flipped. So this is like a flipped edge over here. So we just have to flip that out. So let me do that because at least it'll bring this out. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so now that flipped edge is out. I think I might have put myself right back where I started. But if I move this here, is there a green or an orange up here that I can use? Nope, but I've got a white that's not in use. Is there a red that's here? No, that's not going to be helpful either. Wow. Okay, can I get my orange here? No, but here's a yellow. That's not going to do anything. Okay, here's a red or a blue. That's not going to do anything. Okay, what if I go like this? Okay, at least this will work because this will end up into here. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, once more. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay. The only problem is now I have two flipped edges. What I mean by that is that this needs to flip and this needs to flip. So I'm going to have to take a third one out to do that. I saw something similar when I had that in the fused cube over here. So let me not lose track. I lost track. Okay. So if I move this here, I have to make sure that they're in the same level that I can take out. So over here. Okay, this will have to come to here, and this will have to come to here. Okay, so I have to take this blue out. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, now let's get a lay of the land here. So I'm still in that situation where I'm looking to see, okay, this can go here, which it's liking. This can go here, and this can go here. So this to here, this to here, and this to here. This looks like it just might work. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. And this comes back to here, and here, and ha! Done! Okay. So with this, that shows such variability in the structures of these puzzles. Taking a circle 2x2, which is really just a fused cube, and then giving a puzzle that has so much similarities, an evolutionary convergence evolution of a puzzle that looks just like this, but the structure is very different. This is a 2x2 inside of a 4x4. This is a fused 3x3 inside of a 4x4. And as such, the strategy is very different. And with that difference comes such a variation of strategy and solve experience which I highly recommend. Anyway, hopefully there'll be more variations in the future, and thanks for watching.